Let's go. All right. I'm doing a reading and I'm going to post this. And it's a reading for a client and friend who could probably use it. So I'm going to do a Celtic cross. And I have my big Thoth deck out. And I've decided I want to do a Celtic cross with a significator. And she knows that she's a very Scorpio person. In fact, you might say well, 4 planets in Scorpio. So that's pretty Scorpio. And we're going to do this. So I'm just going to shuffle in my usual way, which is however I feel like. A bit of a hodgepodge, this and that, until I feel they're ready. I haven't used this deck for readings in a while, so we're going to give it a good randomization. So I'm going to close my eyes briefly and link up to the higher and ground, starlight and earth, all through us. And there we are. What's going on for you, Ms. Scorpio? Oh, I want to do some more. A few more. It's really, because you know what? With these Celtic crosses, you want it mixed up. Let's even do a good old-fashioned, big-handed, big cards. Yeah, maybe. All right, let's take it from there. Well, that's decided, isn't it? Okay. So I like to go cut 3 times and taking the middle on top. So first our significator, Queen of Cups, covering that 4 of Swords. Of course, labeled truce in Crowley's deck. Crossed by Strength. Crowns you is these days. What's below you is the basis of the matter. What's recent? Oh, yeah, we didn't do that, did we? We'll do that. So, 8 of Swords, grounds you. Looks like that's not quite fitting in here. So, and there we are. Swords, 3 of Wands, virtue, the base of the matter, recent developments, Princess of Wands. Coming up, 6 of Swords. That ain't bad. Self, environment, hopes and fears, final outcome. I'm going to need a hint, but I'm not going to pull it yet. Just that so self, we get the universe card, environmental factors, we get the Ace of Swords, hopes and fears, Seven of Cups, outcome, Knight of Swords. Or Prince, pardon me, Prince, of course. Prince of Swords. So, generally when I'm doing a reading, I don't often use the Celtic Cross, but I just thought I would today for this, because it's because. And I guess that Prince isn't going to fit in that shot, but that's okay. I don't want to muck with the camera now. But I'll start talking about this. So, right away, what are we looking at? You know, it looks like the Four of Swords. Of course, so let's just start with the significator. Significator, I've chosen the Queen of Cups because you're a Scorpio, and the Queen of Cups is can be used for a woman who is a mature woman who is a water sign. And here the Queen of Cups is someone depicted symbolically as a woman who is very sensitive and intuitive and aware of kind of emotional currents, the tides and the ebbs and flows of her own and the emotions of people around you as well. So with that stated, we get this covering card of swords, of the Four of Swords. So the Four of Swords is often, the Crowley labels a truce, as in a battle, kind of truce in a battle, which, come to think of it, is something which you could really probably use these days. And it's that's on one level. On another level, though, it is higher ideas. So, which is interesting to have higher ideas about big things on primary voting day today, Big Tuesday, or whatever you guys call it in the States. So there's obviously some discussion about these bigger ideas, and some thought about repercussions about all these bigger ideas and what's going on politically. More importantly, though, I think it has to do with you just deciding, I need a break from the fiery energy here, the wands all around and the strength card crossing. The crossing card, I don't take the crossing card to mean what's in the way. Besides, how is strength going to be in the way? Strength is a very positive card. It's always positive. Well, of course, Crowley labels it lust, but it just means strength in action by labeling it lust, so it's more active. Strength as a verb, the use of strength. But of course, as a crossing card, it doesn't mean that that's in your way. What it really kind of means, I think, another way of looking at the crossing card in the Celtic Cross is that it's what you're deciding against, or an option not taken at this time. So I think it means kind of giving some conflicts, and I happen to know from a little background I have that there's some tension and conflicts with a spouse and the father of your children. So this is, I think, where the peace or the truce is about, in a way. It's about deciding, you know what, that you're really feeling that I got bigger fish to fry here. I got other things that require my attention, and bigger fish to fry with the Four of Swords is really about, I think, kind of these bigger ideas, but in another context, and that's not national politics, it's about legal matters for you. for your family. It's about looking after the insurance issues, insurance policies, issues, money, kind of banking, where money is held. I think we also talked, it has to do too, I think, with this idea of power of attorney, which is what we call it in Canada. I'm not sure what you call it in the States. But it's got to be obvious to everyone, and doctors especially, that the situation, which I previously know, I'm not gleaning all this from these cards, around the health of your father, that he is not what he was. He's elderly, he's had the accident, he's not what he was. That seems to be obvious to everyone. That obviously in that situation, legally, his control over what happens with him and to him in the system, the medical system, and the legal system, and control and the banking, whatever happens around him and his finances, etc., fall to his wife. So, and how kind of that may go, my intuition is telling me right now that she may figure that, oh, I can handle all this, just, it's my duties. But if that's what you hear from mom, it ain't going to last long. She's going to get a little bit involved, or get kind of a whiff of really what's all going on, or entail what it requires. And I think she's going to certainly be willing to step aside. That you really, I think, need to find kind of issues may come and be coming up about here. Who's going to sign this? And from that, you can begin to take steps to maybe take kind of control of the situation, which jumps me over into the second position in the line here, is about home, family, etc. Where the Ace of Swords here is for you, is saying a victory. Now, so the timelines are always tricky, but I can take it maybe kind of that this really may take a kind of, certainly takes more than a month to get figured out. We're going from the Eight of Swords to the Six of Swords, which is coming to an agreement. The Eight of Swords is too many ideas, nobody's sure, just kind of keep a lid on it. It's not the time for you to put pressure on around financial or legal issues, but it's also coming up in the next few weeks that there's going to be a lot more to kind of deal with. So it seems from that evolves the Six, from the Eight of Swords to the Six of Swords, which is in about a month and a half, I think, here in this forward position, kind of coming to an agreement. And it's almost as though there may be someone else involved returning. I don't know if there's an auntie, dad's sister, somebody like that seems to be also becoming involved, but that seems to be good for you, that there's a backer, that there's encouragement to kind of look after things, to take control. But as again, this process seems to kind of be at a standstill and be difficult in the next month and a half, way better, 2-3 months solved to your liking. Let's just, now there's other issues here too around, it's saying that of course, the basis of the matter is the Three of Wands here is virtue. Crowley labels it virtue, but it's very much a card of creative energy that is sort of waiting to see what happens. Like waiting to see, in the Rider-Waite card shows like Is that a merchant looking at ships on the sea? Is he waiting for his ship to come in, or is he sending out ships on a hope and a prayer? Kind of back in the day when great commerce and connections between continents all happened. It was all on the sea, and you'd send out sort of a ship for some commerce to import some spices, and it's a big freaking risk about what's going to happen. Who knows? So for you, for these days, it's saying in the past that you've just kind of done your best. You know you couldn't be, you're just kind of hopeful. You feel blessed that at least, things have gotten kind of this far. Dad survived his serious situation. Things have improved around the kids, and kids' developmental, what was potential developmental delay is proving to be history done past. I think really that's where this is going. But of course, those things take a few years. I think that, but it's nonetheless, what it's saying is about your integrity, shall we say, and that just kind of trying for the best for everyone. And so that's the further past. What's coming into the more recent past, this Princess of Wands, going from Wands to this sort of Wands energy in action recently. And it says that there's been a message, that seems to have caused some worries, or it's not so much confusion because it's articulate, but the Eight of Swords is like sort of not seeing the forest through the trees. Too many ideas, too many possibilities, potential for worry and some stress, but not really feeling that you're able to get your point across these days or right away. But that's cool. So this flurry of energy, I think it's saying that you're taking a bit of a chance, that you're trying to kind of to make the best of things, trying to have a little fun there. It's always got to be a little fun with the Princess of Wands in the recent past. But also kind of good news, feeling some support, I think really is what this is about. Maybe not from partner, but there's other friends and contacts that people are can really, I think, in your dealings with the medical profession now around your dad and any kind of connections he has, an old friend he has, lawyer he has, whatever that is, that you're going to feel respected and supported. And you'll obviously, as a Queen of Cups, you're going to know when that is sincere and authentic. So we're coming into the strength. What's in the way? It's just not in the way, but what you're deciding against is just being the boss right now, because it's the Leo card. It's the woman in control card here, really, of her own baser instincts, the woman in control of her own passions, but also the woman in control of how things go, I think, around you too. So, but you're willing to kind of take a break. You kind of want to just let to see how things go here. It's as though you may suspect there's things going on around the husband that the Eight of Swords says you're not aware of. It's saying that, but you're also deciding it's not the time to push. It's like sink or swim. It's like you're telling your perspective is more quiet, just letting things take their course. You're waiting to see what the heck if you get so much kind of from him verbally, and I'm gonna, and I, and I'm gonna, blah, 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 and nothing ever freaking happens. So it's all just the same. So it's like, that's good. You're taking it with a grain of salt, and it's like, well, I'm not gonna freaking I'm going to bite my tongue and just let him, make his own bed and lay in it, would be a nice way of saying it. Am I going to let him kind of, I don't know, burn his own cookies? Let him just see what's going to happen. And it's not the time to really kind of draw lines or wait until everybody knows you're the boss. Okay, just chill. And I think that's what the strength card crossing over the truce Four of Swords here really is. It's saying if you got a choice in how to react, take the chill choice for now. Getting into what's next, the Six of Swords is really kind of interesting. It almost seems to me about some travel. I think you may be finding out maybe something to do with a relative or something. I don't know. I'm not sure about why there would be a travel card with emphasis on travel with the Ace of Swords and the Universe card here. There's a couple suggestions, and the Prince of Swords as an outcome, which we can see. Yeah. So, but I think more importantly, rather than looking at the Six of Swords on the level of travel, we look at the Six of Swords on the level of coming from the 8 into the 8 of kind of interference, or not really knowing what's going on, to knowing what's going on in a month and a half or so, 5 to 6 weeks. It's saying an understanding is reached. That about what? Well, this seems to be about a couple things, about with family, with mom, with but is husband involved in this understanding? We'll see, because that we'll just got to carry on here. That's the tricky one. That's what we're pulling another card for later, is the relationship, the marriage issues here. But in the meantime, I think things saying, nothing about the Strength card in the center here, crossing or not. It's really saying probably pretty good things. I think it's good things around children. And I think this Princess of Wands is one of the daughters here too. That's saying kind of some new creative flair, new kind of something kind of coming out of that you're going to be able to encourage. Maybe one is finally going to be doing something different than the other twin here, that one's going to be going to like a dance class or something that because she's into it, and the other one's not. That's interesting. So things look positive there. I think the Seven of Cups here in hopes and fears on one level, it is saying, obviously with politics, with, the whole kind of coronavirus thing and everywhere publicized, there's issues there's worries for any mom, anybody, where family is important, that you're caring about people and caring for people, and, God, you don't need dad in his vulnerable healing situation to be getting sick with something weird. You don't, there's a lot of issues. It's a thing, but, you can't really just, worrying isn't worthwhile. You can't worry about these things, but you can be sensible and take due diligent precautions and just be practical and sensible. You can't worry about things like that, because what was the good one I heard the other day? Worrying is like praying for what you don't want. Just ruminating over bad stuff is not what to do with your mind. So I think let's look at the Seven of Cups another way. Here is about dreaming, daydreaming, about as well as fears. It's odd in the Celtic Cross, you got one card, one position. The second from the last, the ninth position there, whatever it is about hopes and fears at the same time. So as a hopes card, it's about hoping for a bigger life, a more emotional life, kind of some, what about me? What about, the luxury of some selfishness, of, you need somebody to wine and dine you a little bit. You need to, even if it's going out with some girlfriends, kind of something to celebrate. It says there is going to be something to celebrate. So dang it. Kids are getting old enough that mommy can come home late once in a while. We're in a blue moon anyway. But it also says around, to me, the Seven of Cups, Crowley labels it to kind of all that liquid water. It's gushy, it's a swamp. Seven of Cups, Crowley labels debauchery, or just debauch. But so, not that like that's maybe a little bit of debauch would be nice for a Scorpio, as long as it's all carefully hidden away and not. But anyway, as long as you're sneaky about it. But again, it seems to say to something around I don't know. It's like the husband here. I think this Prince of Swords is on one level. When you get a face card in the main body of the reading, it's yourself. It's the inquirer, the client, and on one level. On another level, it's other people, potentially more than one other person. So I do get a sense here that because it's the Prince of Swords as well, that this is on one level, it can be your son. And in that respect, I do get a sense that he could become ill, although lots of kids get ill. But just to say that for sure, it's just a transitory thing, whatever it is. I don't think it's the corona. It could be something else. It could be something else kind of respiratory. But the fluids around fluids or asthma, kind of respiratory with the fluids there. Or a flu-y thing where it's both ends, really. But it's but the whole thing is about this is that it's saying he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Just somebody gets sick and they're fine. On another level, but that seems more in the spring or early summer, anyway. On another level, the Prince of Swords seems to be partner, and we got the swords from the whole swords tract here. 4 of Swords, 8 of Swords, 6 of Swords, Ace of Swords, Prince of Swords, and we got this development from giving it a break, chill rather than control right now. However, take notes, observe, look at the phones, look at the emails, get a sense of what's going on. But no, it's not the time for confrontation. It's the time for collecting data, is the 8 of Swords as well. Into the 6th is the discussion, is making things smooth, is coming to agreements, is dealing with some info. Somebody returns, comes to town. I think this is a relative who also is involved or cares about dad. There's an agreement there. It's like a team effort here. So, and then this leading into the Ace of Swords, which is very much a victory, and I'm glad that's come up in the position of home and feelings, where there's a victory. And I think this could be around legal matters as well that we were discussing previously. So, and then into a little bit of a confusing time around the 7 of Cups, maybe other issues, maybe illness. It says, don't worry. And then the Prince of Swords saying somebody's really kind of, at one level that's you kind of taking charge with this Ace of Swords in your hand. In another sense, it could be someone else who has contrary ideas. which is what I wanted to pull another card for. And it's justice. Of course, as Crowley calls it, adjustment. So we can. This is suggesting that the Prince of Swords is about some actual legal matter, or finally needing to kind of lawyer up. That this may be, I do think it's in part about where the relationship, the marriage goes. But you know what? This is saying that's those decisions aren't going on here for a good 6 months, 6 to 8 months. It's not until late 2020, early 2021 is really the time when you're really going to feel free and shine and know that you're in control of what you need to be in control of in your life and around family and around where you want things to go for you and yours. So, yeah, looks good. I had some other cards here, but I like it. We're going to stop there. Thank you.